Welcome back, class. I'm Mr. Teacher with the SAT Math video guide, and before I move on to the final 3 questions of Section 8 of Test Number 3, I just wanted to say that I want to begin a new series very soon. I'm kind of being impatient with this math guide because I honestly am getting tired of the repetitiveness. Not that I don't like teaching the topic to you, because, it's really helping you with your preparation, I can tell. But I'm thinking that, this is an education channel. It's not just an SAT guide channel. So what I'm going to do from now on is, until I finish the study guide and move on to other topics, I'll be starting this series, random extra knowledge sessions. I don't know what I'm going to call them, but I'll come up with a name by the time you see one of them. So what they're going to be is just random science facts that you may or may not know that are, quite interesting. So I will be focusing on them one at a time. But anyways, that's for another day. That's another story. Today we will be continuing on number 14, so let's begin. The graph of y equals f of x is shown above. Which of the following could be the graph of y equals 2f of x? So, this is equal to y equals to f of x. When they want y equals to 2f of x, well, it's just the y's double value. I kind of started there. It's double the value of y in the original. So instead of looking like that, it would look something like this. If we said y equals 2f of x, it would look like that. Let me put the 4 mark here. And there you go. And you might be already thinking, well, it kind of looks the same. That's not actually correct. It would look something like this, sort of. And the reason why is, if you've already noticed my hint, is that if you remember, f of x in any equation is equal to y anyways, and it's actually even shown here. So when you double the value of y, you're just stretching the entire equation vertically. You're not moving it in any way, any direction. You're not moving it left to right or up or down. You're not stretching it left to right, but you're stretching it up to down. That was very loud. So that's choice D. So we'll go on to number 15. Number 15 is some type of number series. 2, -4, 8. I can tell where this is going. The first term of the sequence above is 2, and every term after the first term is -2 times the preceding term. How many of the first 50 terms of this sequence are less than 100? I know why this is a very tricky question. I know what most people are going to answer just by looking at the question. So, each number after the first is -2 times that number, the preceding number. So, let's start writing out this series. There's 2. We need to remember all the numbers that are less than 100. So there's 2, there's -4, there's 8, there's -16, there's 32, there's -64, there's 128, and this is where most students, if they're in a hurry, are gonna think that, oh, we found all the numbers under 100, great, there's only 6 numbers, and then they're going to realize the answer choices don't even have numbers close to 6. So then you're going to be stuck thinking if you're if you were one of those students. So the way to really solve this question is the first 6 terms, 2, -4, 8, -16, 32, -64, are less than 100 before you reach the first positive number that will be greater than 100. So that's 6 terms total confirmed, and you still have 44 terms left. Out of those 44 terms, one number is going to be negative, and one number is going to be positive. In this case, it's the other way around, but that doesn't really matter. So the last number in the series will also be a negative since it's an even set, but that doesn't really matter. The point is that there will be an even number of positives as there will be negatives. So all the negatives are still less than a positive 100, because you can see the next number is negative 256, the next number is 512, which isn't, but the number after that is negative 1024, if I can fit that in there. So half of the numbers are negative, so we need to divide 44 by 2, and we'll get 22. Now we just add 6 to 22, and we will get 28. So choice C is our correct answer. That brings us to the last question, which is, I believe, a 3D question, if I remember correctly. Number 16. 3D picturing questions usually are tough because students visualize the problem. They don't draw it out, because drawing 3D is kind of a hassle, but in this case you would need to draw it. A cube with volume 8 cubic centimeters is inscribed in a sphere so that each vertex of the cube touches the sphere. What is the length of the diameter in centimeters of the sphere? So, like I said, this is a tough one because most students aren't gonna feel like they have the time to draw out the entire thing, and they're just gonna try to keep visualizing and visualizing, how am I gonna do this, how am I gonna do this, how am I gonna do this. The point is, as soon as they draw it, it immediately becomes pretty clear. So, I'm just gonna use my trusty red to do out this problem, at least part of it. That's a very disorientated sphere that looks like a circle. Even though I said it's easier to draw in 3D, you really can draw a sphere on paper without using shading techniques, but you can draw the square, at least close enough. See, this is not really looking so good. I'm just gonna cancel this out and just draw the cube. That's all I really need for this problem, the cube itself. So a cube then goes like this, then like that, then like that, then like that. At least one variation of the cube. And there are dotted lines that go like such. Is it? No. They keep going on till here, where they collide again. So that's actually the front, my bad. And these are the dotted ones, the ones behind it, the ones with red dashed over the blue. Very simple cube. Actually, not very simple. It looks actually pretty horrible. So they say that the volume of the cube is 8 cubic centimeters. So we know that each side will be the cube root of 8, which is going to be equal to 2. So this is equal to 2, this is equal to 2, this is equal to 2. You get the picture. So the thing about cubes and spheres is that they're totally symmetrical. So really, it's asking what is the length of the diameter in centimeters of the sphere. And when you think about it, this is the one thing you can visualize and get away with in this problem. You can visualize the sphere by saying this is the left rear top corner, and this is the right front bottom corner. And when you think about it such that the diameter is going to run from that side to that side, and on paper it really just looks like a straight line in front of the cube, but that is going through the cube, through the direct center of the cube, and those corners are touching the sphere at opposite sides, so it's basically a diameter. So we now need to count the number of the length of squares that we first move to come to the left rear top corner. So we went 2 up, which causes the upward slant. We went 2 left, which causes the leftward slant. And we went 2 deep. This is an interesting direction. You're going inside the cubes. That's why it works. And now we just need to know a distance formula. You also have a distance formula for 3D objects, just like 2D objects. So the distance formula for a 3D object is the square root of x squared plus y squared plus z squared. So the square root of all of that. And we can count these directions as the 2's and the x, the y, and the z. So what this equation will stand out to is 2 squared plus 2 squared plus 2 squared. And that's just 4 plus 4 plus 4, so the square root of 12. And if you factor that out, it'll be equal to the square root of 2 times 2 times 3. You can get rid of the 2's, so it's equal to 2 root 3. And that is choice D. So we have reached the end of test number 3, and I'm glad we managed to make it so quickly. I say quickly, comparatively quickly, if you relate to the other tests by now that I've done. So, and I've made pretty significant changes as well. You know, I got my new logo, so it feels pretty good. And I drew it on my own, so, you know, it took a lot of time. But instead of talking about my logo, I hope this video helped you with your SAT preparation, and I will be seeing you in the next video, where we'll be starting on test number 4. See you soon.